Oh yeah, what's up all my Jaguars out there? You know who I am. Ralph Jaguar is back with another epic one. And welcome to another epic episode of Ralph's Universe, the reboot. Let's do it.
Alright, Jaguars and WWE Universe members, I have more news for you concerning World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE for short. I want to talk about what happened last Monday night on WWE Monday Night Raw. It was just after the epic pay-per-view event by the WWE, Payback. And yeah, Payback was a real BITCH. A lot of stuff happened, so I want to just go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, let's start by talking about the situation with Alberto Del Rio. We all know what happened on that previous night. Because Dolph Ziggler was not 100%, that was pretty obvious. And Alberto Del Rio went ahead and took advantage of the situation, kept on nailing him, and thus Alberto Del Rio was able to recapture the World Heavyweight Championship. And in the previous episode of the reboot, I did say that Alberto Del Rio was in the right of what he did, because it was just karma coming back to bite, Dolph Ziggler and the ASS. But then again, there are certain other people who just didn't feel that way. People criticized and came down on Alberto Del Rio because of the way that he won the World Heavyweight Championship on WWE Payback. I mean, even Jerry Lawler has some words about that. And that, of course, pissed off Alberto Del Rio. He came out the ring on the opening of Monday Night Raw last Monday, and he was real pissed off about the comments that people made. Because I'll tell you what, Jerry Lawler said that it wasn't right what Alberto Del Rio did, because, and then that's Alberto Del Rio came out to the ring and he brought up the fact that Dolph Ziggler did cash in his Money in the Bank contract on a very vulnerable Alberto Del Rio when he was injured. So last Sunday, he went ahead on and returned the favor. But then Alberto Del Rio went ahead on and said that when Dolph Ziggler did that, people had went ahead on and cheered for Dolph Ziggler. Because he brought on the fact that, Dolph Ziggler did cash in Money on the Bank when he was vulnerable because Dolph Ziggler is a coward. And I do agree with that. And then Alberto Del Rio went on to say that people were cheering for Jack Swagger and, calling him a pig. Now, this is the thing. Now, here's my take on this whole thing. Because you see, we did brought up the fact that, that Dolph Ziggler did, take advantage of the situation. But I didn't hear anyone cheering for Dolph Ziggler. And I didn't hear anyone cheering for Jack Swagger, when he was doing all that stuff. So for Alberto Del Rio to say all of that, saying that people cheered for Alberto Del Rio, people Yeah, for Alberto Del Rio to say that, people cheered for Dolph Ziggler is totally off base. And as far as Jerry Lawler is concerned, my opinion is this. Jerry Lawler is a Hall of Famer and a very good announcer. He's real good at the broadcast table. And the way I see it is freedom of speech. Jerry Lawler can say whatever the F he wants to say. I mean, no matter what happens in any situation, people are always going to talk. And they're going to say stuff. I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. Rather, both parties are wrong, right, or indifferent. Because we all know the old saying, two wrongs don't make a right. But at WWE Payback, yeah, Dolph Ziggler, he did get what he deserved. I mean, yeah, he was injured, suffering from that concussion. And Alberto Del Rio went ahead on and took advantage of the situation and nailed, Dolph Ziggler with all those blows to the head. Okay? But people can say whatever they want to say. And the fact that, Alberto Del Rio went ahead on and, talking down on the fans and telling them that they should not be cheering for Dolph Ziggler. I'm like, what the F? Yeah, you gotta be kidding me on this one. Because I'll tell you one thing, I do have a lot of respect for Jerry Lawler. And the way I see it, Jerry Lawler can say whatever the F he wants to say. That's freedom of speech. He calls it like he sees it. So there is I absolutely am not going to come down on Jerry Lawler. But then JBL went on to say that, Alberto Del Rio, he did what he had to do to become the champion. Which is true. But everything that I said in the previous episode of Ralph's Universe, the reboot, I stand by it, I said it before, I said it again. I'll say it again, Dolph Ziggler got exactly what he deserved. I mean, he himself has done a lot of bad things. He took advantage of an injured man. Cashing in that money in the bank. And in the end, the karma came back to bite him. Karma is a bitch. And so is payback. And Dolph Ziggler ended up losing the World Heavyweight Championship to a guy that he took advantage of, a guy that he screwed over. And I do not think that Alberto Del Rio should be, criticized for that. But he was. And on Monday Night Raw, it seems like the WWE Universe did, turn on him. They did started, booing Alberto Del Rio only because Alberto Del Rio was criticizing the fans, the WWE Universe, for saying, bad stuff about him and the way that he won the World Heavyweight Championship. So now it seems like the character of Alberto Del Rio is turning heel again. And of course, if you saw last Monday night, you saw that CM Punk, the best in the world, came out and challenged Alberto Del Rio to a match later that night. And then Vicky Guerrero came out and she made it official. Okay? Alberto Del Rio would have to face, CM Punk later that night, one-on-one. Last Monday night on Raw also marked the official return of Christian. He had to miss a year of action because of an injury. I'm not sure where. But here's what happened. Originally, it was supposed to be Wade Barrett getting his rematch for the Intercontinental title, which was won on the previous night by Curtis Axel. And it was supposed to be an Intercontinental Championship match. But then Vicky Guerrero came out to the ring after Wade Barrett had came out to the ring and said that she changed the whole thing. And now Wade Barrett had to go one-on-one with Christian, even though he really was expecting, Curtis Axel. I will have to say, yeah, that's not really right. But I cannot somehow find any sympathy for Wade Barrett. Because I still think that there's something suspicious about, his elbow pad and the way that he's knocking guys out. But anyways, in the match, it was Christian going one-on-one with Wade Barrett. I'll tell you, I saw this match on replay. It was really good. I mean, both of these guys put on a heck of a performance, and it was epic. Oh yeah. And Christian looking real good in the match. And at the end, Christian ended up winning the whole damn thing. He was victorious over Wade Barrett. Very good. Now, how in the world did this match happen right here? It was a handicap match signed by Vicky Guerrero. Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes teaming up, and they're going up against the Great White Sheamus in a handicap match. Not really fair. Not fair at all. In fact, I think that's just total BS. But anyways, now at the start of the match, Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes, they did have the advantage, They dominated the whole matchup. Because I'll tell you what, though. At this point right here, I really thought that Sheamus was on his way to winning this handicap match. Because you see, he's nailing Damien Sandow right here. And he's got Cody tied up right here. And Sheamus right here is nailing Cody Rhodes with the white noise. But as JBL said, two great men will always beat one guy. And it looks like that's exactly what happened on last Monday Night Raw. Just when Sheamus was about to nail, Cody Rhodes with the brogue kick, that's when Damien Sandow took advantage of the situation and got the 1-2-3 on the Celtic Warrior. Damn. Oh, and I guess that, Damien Sandow is going to go ahead and count that as a win, right? Oh yeah. Yeah, a real cheap victory here. Yeah, two against one. Wow. That's really something. So that's the kind of victory Damien Sandow wants to take, huh? I mean that's the only victory that Damien Sandow can take. I mean that's the only way you can win, by cheating. And it really pisses me off that, Vicky Guerrero went ahead and signed this match. That's total BS. And you know this. Alright, Jaguars, just before his match with Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan had a talk with his partner here, Kane. And, Daniel Bryan really wanted this match. He wanted to prove that he was not the weak link. Now, I don't think Daniel Bryan is the weak link at all. But, however, I have to say this, I mean, if Daniel Bryan, believes that he is the weak link and he keeps calling himself that, then my thought is, maybe he is. Because we all know that, combatants and warriors have to believe in themselves. And if he doesn't believe in himself, then who will? Kane, of course, tried to talk Daniel Bryan out of the match. But Daniel Bryan wanted to go through with it. Okay. So let's talk about the match. Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton. And check it out. You, the WWE Universe, decided to... Yeah, you and the WWE Universe got the chance to vote on what the stipulation would be for the match. Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton. And the choices were A, no disqualification, B, no count out, C, 2 out of 3 falls. Now I of course chose option B, no count out. But it didn't turn out that way. The WWE Universe voted for something else. Yep, this is what you guys voted for. No disqualification. And this no DQ match right here was real good. It was epic. Both Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan put up a great fight. But the only weapon that was used was a kendo stick used by Randy Orton. Daniel Bryan, he really put on one heck of a show. In fact, it was a hell of a show. I mean, the man tried real hard, even though he was up against the apex predator. But because of an injury, one of the doctors came out to the ring and he had the referee stop the match because Daniel Bryan just could not go on and continue the match. And the match, of course, was awarded to Randy Orton because Daniel Bryan could not continue, and only because Daniel Bryan could not continue. So basically what we have here is just a situation of self-doubt. But like I said before, obviously, I really do not feel like Daniel Bryan is the weak link. I mean, because he's Daniel Bryan is a former world champion, on 2 occasions. So he's obviously not the weak link. And here she is, our new WWE Divas champion. Looking so good, so hot. AJ Lee. I mean, you gotta like AJ Lee. Can't help that. Yeah, she did come out to the ring this past Monday, and she did gloat about her victory. Actually, she did a little more than that. She didn't just gloat about her victory and winning the title. She also gloated about playing the mind games on Kaitlyn and breaking her down and stuff. And, of course, all the divas in the back didn't like that too well. And AJ Lee, started going overboard, saying that she was the most powerful woman in the world. Okay, you know what? The other women didn't take a exception to that. I mean, they didn't like that at all. And there was one female who had something to say about that, and that was Stephanie McMahon. That's right, Stephanie McMahon. You all know that she's one of the big bosses here in the WWE. And AJ Lee was, kept going with those sarcastic remarks and being disrespectful. So Stephanie, had to remind AJ of who the boss was, and that is what Stephanie did. And right then and there on that spot, Stephanie could have stripped AJ Lee of the title, and Stephanie could have fired AJ Lee. But she didn't do that. Because of course, that would be too easy. Now here comes Kaitlyn, deciding not to be the victim anymore. And she admits that, AJ Lee was able to get into her head. And that is why Kaitlyn ended up losing the WWE Divas Championship. But Kaitlyn is not going to be the victim anymore. And of course, that the other divas came out too, and they stood up on the stage. And then, enough with the words. Oh yeah, it wasn't a cat fight, it was a diva fight. And these two went at it. I mean, Kaitlyn just jumped on AJ, started throwing the punches, and just simply trying to rip AJ apart. Big E Langstrom was there. He was able to pull, AJ Lee out of the ring. And look at that. And Big E Langstrom, he picked up AJ and carried her out of the ring. Yeah, this thing with AJ Lee and Kaitlyn is far from over, obviously. Yeah, there definitely needs to be a rematch for the WWE Divas Championship. In a rematch for last Sunday's United States Championship match, Kane once again challenged Dean Ambrose for the United States title. Now this match right here didn't really last too long, because only about 2 minutes into it, yeah, these two did tangle a bit, but then that's when the other two members of the Shield came out. I mean, they attacked Kane, jumped him, and then beat him down again. And I'll tell you why. It's because Triple H, got on to Vicky Guerrero and told her that she needed to put the pressure on the Shield and make them toe the line, because for a while now they had been running roughshod. And so Vicky Guerrero gave a warning to each member of the Shield to not get out of line. Don't interfere in matches, and don't be, jumping people from behind and beating them down. Okay, the Shield didn't really heed the warning, because once again, they do what they want to do. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, they jumped into the ring, beat Kane down. Okay, it was a bad beating, but not too bad. And then after the match, Vicky Guerrero was actually about to fire the Shield. Can you believe that? But the only thing that stopped her was, Vince McMahon showing up just in the nick of time to, to interrupt it and praise the Shield for, for what they're doing, because it is ruthless aggression, I guess. But the way I see it, that Vicky Guerrero is a little out of control, all the time trying to fire people, and that usually doesn't really solve the problem. And I'm really questioning. I don't think Vicky Guerrero should have, the authority to fire, WWE superstars. Because I think what should happen is that the only way to handle the Shield is to, just once again, pick 3 guys to go up against them in a match. And that's the way you're supposed to handle the situation. Because Triple H said that, Vicky Guerrero needed to get tough on the Shield, but then Vince McMahon, really praises the Shield for what they're doing, as long as they don't get too out of control. Yeah, it's really tough when one supervisor says one thing and then another supervisor says another. Yeah, I'm all too familiar with that. Oh yeah. Now here is the man of the hour. Our boy John Cena, WWE champion, the champ. That's right. Finally came onto the scene last Monday night. And he touched on a couple of things, His war with Ryback was really epic. In fact, his war with Ryback was
so mother effing epic.
That's right, it was epic. And the C Nation leader did say that, well, okay, I don't remember word for what he said. Come on now, people. Of course, I don't remember word for what he said, but yeah, he touched on a couple of things. He said that he's ready for the next challenge. But the one thing that John Cena did mention was that he was focusing and getting ready for the next pay-per-view event, and that would be Money in the Bank. That's the next pay-per-view event that's coming up next for World Wrestling Entertainment. Now, I can tell you right now, no official matches have been signed yet for Money in the Bank. But the preparation process has begun. And John Cena, he said that whoever wins Money in the Bank, he really assured everyone that, whoever the winner of Money in the Bank is, whoever's holding that briefcase, he told them, he said, look guys, there's not going to be any opportune time to cash in Money in the Bank, because John Cena confidently said that he will see him coming. And the speech that John Cena made, it sounded like, he was real confident, and I had never seen him this confident ever. It was a pretty good promo. Hell, it was an epic promo. And that was very nice, he was able to get everybody riled up. Oh hell, he got me riled up too. And it wasn't just talk. It wasn't just talk at all. John Cena always backs up what he says with action. Action speaks louder than words. Well, John Cena is screaming because as you can see here, after that war that he had with Ryback, he is still the champ. Yeah, the champ is still here. But his next challenge is coming up right now. So I guess this should be the man of the hour right here. Mark Henry has been tweeting a whole lot of stuff on Twitter saying that he's going to retire. And now here he is. He came out to the ring during John Cena's speech. Yeah, and here he is wearing his pink vest. Yeah, there's no way you can miss that. A big guy come walking around with a pink vest, yeah. No way you can miss that. And here's Mark Henry coming out, making a speech, saying a whole bunch of stuff, and, making a whole emotional speech, telling everybody that he's retiring from the World Wrestling Entertainment. And he also mentioned the fact that he has held every world title except for the WWE Championship. And of course, John Cena, was showing his respect because he also thought that, at this point, that Mark Henry was going to retire. But then, that is when Mark Henry nailed John Cena. Yeah, he went ahead and nailed him with the Olympic Slam. Damn. I had a feeling that, this whole thing was just a ruse. Mark Henry had a lot of people fooled, but he didn't really have me fooled. Ah, jeez. And after that whole situation happened, that is when Mark Henry challenged John Cena for the WWE title. Where is it going to happen at? Will it be the next pay-per-view event at Money in the Bank? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now this whole thing right here that Mark Henry did, coming out here with the suit on, with the pink vest and that interesting looking tie right there. Now I gotta say, this whole thing was just pointless. Come on, guys. Oh yeah, it was supposed to be a swerve to try to fool John Cena and the WWE Universe. I'm just wondering what was the point of this whole thing. Yeah, maybe just to get a cheap shot on the champ. Well, you know what? He gave John Cena and the world's strongest slam. John Cena felt it. Well, we all know, the whole WWE universe knows that John Cena will retaliate back. And he's going to strike back hard. Okay. Even though 24 hours earlier, Chris Jericho basically went to battle with the best in the world, CM Punk, and it was CM Punk who won that match, but Chris Jericho was still ready to go, because last Monday night on Raw, Y2J Chris Jericho went one-on-one with Heath Slater, one of the members of the three-man band. And of course, all of the members of three-man band were out there, Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal. Now, I don't know what to think about that team right there, all I can say is, maybe a couple of, third-rate foot soldiers. Yeah, that's all I can think about that. But anyways, yeah, the match between Chris Jericho versus Heath Slater, it was pretty good. Yeah, but it didn't take much for Chris Jericho to defeat, Heath Slater. Yeah, there was some outside interference, but that did not stop Chris Jericho from winning the match, because Jericho did win the match. And then the other members of three-man band did get involved, but Chris Jericho ended up, beating them down too. So therefore, Chris Jericho is once again victorious on Monday Night Raw. And another thing that occurred on Monday Night Raw, CM Punk had a conversation with Paul Heyman in the back just before his match with Alberto Del Rio. Paul Heyman, CM Punk mentioned the fact that he will always be a Paul Heyman guy. Always be a Paul Heyman guy. But he didn't want Paul Heyman to accompany him ringside. And we all know how Paul Heyman is, right? Because when Paul Heyman doesn't get his way, when people stop listening to him, that's when Paul Heyman gets upset. And I guess that is the reason why Brock Lesnar attacked CM Punk, after his match with Alberto Del Rio. So it looks like the two Paul Heyman guys are going at it. I mean, like, what was it? Did Brock Lesnar take it the wrong way because that was supposed to be like a diss on Paul Heyman? Oh, jeez. Anyways, there you have it. That is the news for now. Okay, with World Wrestling Entertainment. The point of this episode of Ralph's University Reboot is that I wanted to try to keep you up to date with what's happening with the WWE. Just let you know what's going on so far with it. And I will continue to follow World Wrestling Entertainment.
Peace out. Till the next episode. Oh!